Second Amendment holds the distinction of being the only amendment to the Bill of Rights that essentially goes unenforced. The Supreme Court has never struck down any piece of legislation on the Second Amendment grounds. That means that we have to always continue the fight and stay on top of that Supreme Court. Those Supreme Court judges, we can fight Congress, we can fight the senators, and I encourage you to write them and call them every day. But that Supreme Court's the ones we got to watch, guys, and make sure that our presidents put the right guys in there. And right now, it's kind of like this. So we got to be careful. But I want you to be sure, and even you here weekly, send an email to Pete Gallego telling him what you feel. Every week, just send something. It don't have to be much. Just say, remember, Pete, what I'm thinking. I had lunch with him and dinner with him one night, and I had to pay. But I asked him, I said, Pete, I said, how are you voting on this gun issue? He said, let me tell you. I said, no, that's a wrong answer. Wrong answer. The right answer is no. Right then is no. My friend Don Caden, who's obviously a better poet than I am, he put an article in the paper several weeks back, and he was talking about the highway deaths. There were 790 highway deaths, something like that, 760. And that there had only been 336 people killed last year in the United States with a handgun, and already in Texas it was 790. Well, as of Wednesday, there were 1,107 people killed on Texas highways since January. So, the big fight, they're fighting our guns and stuff. It just don't even make sense. It tells you there's something hidden in it. There's something hidden in their agenda to try to take away guns from folks. This same civics teacher, Tom Patty, told me, he said, the reason why China never comes over here and attacks us, even though they know every one of us have a gun. And it's going to be hard when they hit the coast of California and they just get unloaded on. And I do believe that. And California's pretty liberal on that. Gun deaths are the lowest they've been since 1973. And this is not something, this is from a magazine or the book that we get at the sheriff's office that the FBI publishes. It's not something we make up. It's not something that somebody sent off on the internet just so people will believe it. They publish that. Who's reading it? I hope it's our congressmen and senators. They need to be looking at that. The people they've got keeping the stats are telling them how low it is right now. So there it is. There's something hidden. As far as Brewster County, I can tell you the one thing I do worry about is that if you live in Double Diamond, Terlingua, backside of Sunny Glen or someplace, sometimes my or one of my deputies' responses to your house could be 20 minutes, could be an hour. I just want to let you know I'd rather come to your house and clean up a mess than for you to get hurt. I know that being a gun dealer in Alpine and Brewster County, I sell guns to Hispanics, whites, women, men. And I can tell you whether they're Republican or Democrat, like I told Pete Gallego that night, your county that you represent here likes their guns. Every one of them. So it doesn't make no difference. Those lines have to not be crossed here. So I hope that y'all will continue that. And going to the NRA conference this year in Houston, I saw something that encouraged me to come back and tell you. I saw a grandfather buying his grandson a lifetime membership to the NRA. With a little over 4 million NRA members, and then if you double that, because some wives listen to their 5 million now. if you double that, because some wives listen to their husbands when they go to the polls, say that's 10 million. That's still way too low. So I encourage everybody, even though this isn't an NRA type deal, to buy your grandchildren a membership, to buy your children one like I did when I came home, so that they would know those numbers need to be 40 million. That's what scares politicians, is big numbers. I mean, just think how you do with the 5 million, just think what a 40 million would do. Last thing I want to tell you, and I take this, as a sheriff of this county, I am no way ever going to come take your guns. Thank you.
I wanted to follow up a little bit on what my friend Don Cadden had to say and explain to you all a little bit about why we in Texas take our gun rights so seriously. It's sort of in our DNA. It's sort of something that's been here for a long time. Because when they had that little fracas over in Gonzales in 1835 and 1836, it happened because Santa Anna had taken over the Mexican government in 1833. And what was the first thing that Santa Anna did when he took over the government? He sent an order up to Texas, and he told everybody in Texas, if you're an illegal settler, get the hell out, and if you got a rifle, give it up to the government. No citizen could be armed under Santa Anna. And so Santa Anna's soldiers were enforcing that decree when they went over to Gonzales, and they learned that the original Texas settlers were going to tell him to come and take it. They weren't going to give it up. And sure enough, Texans fought for their freedom. The Texas Declaration of Independence was written in 1836 while the Alamo was under siege. Prominent among the reasons stated for dissolving political ties between Mexico and Texas was this: the Mexican dictator Santa Anna has demanded us to deliver up our arms, which are essential to our defense, the rightful property of all men, and formidable only to tyrannical governments. So they passed the Texas Constitution in 1836, and it required every able-bodied man between 18 and 50 to join the militia and report for service with a rifle, 1 pound of powder, and 1 pound of lead. The government wasn't going to give the citizens of Texas rifles or set up an army. They wanted every citizen in Texas to have a rifle and show up for service to defend the Republic. The Constitution of Texas in 1836 for the Republic of Texas said this in Article 1, Section 14. Every citizen shall have the right to bear arms in defense of himself and the Republic. That same provision has been stated in every constitution that Texas has, including the current one we have, which is 1876 Constitution and the Texas Bill of Rights. Every citizen shall have the right to keep and bear arms in lawful defense of himself or the state. Texans, from the very beginning, wanted everybody to have a firearm and to keep it to defend themselves, and also to defend themselves if the government became tyrannical. Now, I'm a lawman. I'm here to uphold the law, but I think that the law includes our right to keep and bear arms going back to the very founding of Texas as a republic. Thank you.
As everyone has pretty much hinted at, political involvement is critical. As individuals, we need to contact our reps and our senators, but we also need to do more than that. We've got more strength, or additional strength, if we band together. The way to band together is to join the NRA, and I'll let you in on another secret. There's another group in the state of Texas, the Texas State Rifle Association.
Yeah.
The TSRA fights in Austin and Texas along the same lines as the NRA does nationally. I've got applications for both organizations in my office. If anybody cares to pick one up today, we can take care of that if you're so interested.
And if they don't know your office is right.
Yeah, my office is right across the street in the Hill Building, just directly across the street here. The TSRA has been instrumental in getting the concealed carry law in 1995. The class time this year, there's a bill introduced and passed and gone to the governor to be signed that will reduce the class time to get your concealed carry permit from 10 hours to no more than 6. Also, there's a bill introduced, passed, and gone to the governor to be signed that will decriminalize the accidental display of your concealed weapon. If you reach up on a grocery shelf and somebody sees your gun under your shirt or your jacket, in some parts of the state, lo and behold, hard to believe, people are being prosecuted for that. That will not be able to happen anymore. TSRA has worked for several things along that line. NRA works nationally, TSRA works in Austin.
I'm a member of the board of directors of the National Rifle Association. I'm a member of the board of directors of the National Rifle Association, and I want to assure each and every one of you here this afternoon, the National Rifle Association is 24/7 working on your rights to keep and bear arms. And if you're not a member of the NRA, join the NRA. Ladies and gentlemen, now I want to share something with you about that. I lost my beautiful wife about a year and a half ago. She was an NRA member. She was concealed carry member. She was a, can you hear me? Yeah, my wife was a concealed carry and an NRA member, and she was counselor at the middle school. She shot in qualification about 245, 246 out of possible 250. She had a group that you could cover with the inside of your hat, and she hung that target on the inside of her door in her counseling room, and some bad kid come in, she'd point to that and say, "Don't mess with me." And I told her one time, I said, "Honey, if you were as big as I am, you'd be dictator of the world." But anyway, again, before I close, I'd like each and every veteran raise your hand. And each and every NRA member and Texas State Rifle Association. And by the way, Texas Rifle Association is a great organization. They're right beside us all the time, working with NRA all the time for your rights to keep and bear arms. Now then, I want to reiterate that we're here for one purpose today, in memory of the men and women who have died for this country, and the men and women that are serving this country as we speak today. God bless them, and God bless you, and God bless America, and God bless Texas.
I have a letter here that came special delivery, FedEx, up to the door yesterday evening. It says, "Dear fellow patriots, although I am unable to join you in person today, I applaud you for gathering to celebrate your constitutional rights at the Support the Second Amendment rally. I believe the Second Amendment means what it says, and I am 100% committed to protecting Americans' right to keep and bear arms. We should use every available means to deter and to punish mass murderers. But the federal government should not be trying to ban gun ownership from law-abiding Americans. I have always been a strong proponent of America's right guaranteed by the Second Amendment. As you may know, I authored 2 briefs filed by 31 states and presented their oral argument in the landmark Guns Rights Supreme Court case, District of Columbia versus Heller, that affirmed the individual's right to own firearms. The Second Amendment is a fundamental part of the Bill of Rights, and I intend to help lead the fight in the U.S. Senate to preserve our individual right to keep and bear arms. Thank you all for what you're doing to stand up for liberty and the Second Amendment. Working together, we will preserve America as the shining city on the hill. Sincerely, Ted Cruz, United States Senator.
Pretty much, yeah. Your name is on it.